Production under limited means. Now you'll see these videos come up as PULM, abbreviated. Now this is going to be a whole series. I've made quite a few videos already for it. I've got to make some more videos for it. But it's all about producing things, fixing things, fabricating, manufacturing, patching up, improvising things with very limited materials, means, or capabilities. Now this will not be entirely based on this is how the pioneers done it. This is not a whole series on doing everything the hard way, you know, making log cabins with an axe and a handsaw and then worrying about bears chasing you through the forest. We'll cover a bit of pioneer methods, but I'll cover a whole stack of other things which you'll be quite surprised to see. There's a lot of different things that I've worked out improvised methods for, shortcut ways of doing it and whatnot, because ultimately I've come to realise that there's a lot of technologies that were only considered obsolete even up until the mid-60s. They were still in use and only then considered obsolete. You know, that you can do with very little amount of stuff to give you a technology that isn't terribly bad and is quite alright. For example, bioplastics. You know, all this stuff, it may have been used in the past. It was only obsolete because there was new methods that were nicer and better. But it doesn't mean these old methods don't work. And, you know, bioplastics is one of the ones I'm going to be showing. I'm also going to show how to essentially make mortar with just a bit of stuff I've got out of the ground and, you know, maybe a bit of wood and a bit of coal. There's things such as wood gas cars, you know, that gas bag cars that ran off of coal gas and, you know, could run off of wood gas, you know, that held this coal gas in a great big bag mounted on a roof rack on the roof. You know, you can get electricity by running a lawnmower engine hooked to an alternator from an improvised gas bag made out of beach balls, even rubbish bags, or old tractor tyres or whatever. There's also biogas, and I'll end up showing that. It's quite surprising to think that it was 1963 here locally, coal gasification, you know, was ran through the lines to tens of thousands of customers in this city, and even later in a lot of other areas, you know, to give customers a stove much the same as my propane stove or much the same as the natural gas stoves you got today. You know, it's quite surprising to think that it was only 1963 when they changed over, and they only changed over because they could get this gas that they could break down and use in place of coal gas from an oil refinery that was nearby. And plenty of other places went for years, longer, probably even into the early 70s, using coal gas. All these things we're going to cover, this sort of stuff. Last winter, haven't said much about this, but I was playing around with smelting aluminium. Now, I come close to it. Maybe I need to get some bellows and I would have been able to achieve it. There's some grades you can, but most grades you can't achieve melting aluminium into a big blob with wood. So I've got a bit of coal, and we're going to try with coal. We may try with bellows and stuff like that, you know, to be able to smelt aluminium. And then I hope to be able to cast shapes, you know, with that aluminium. There's a whole stack of funny little improvised methods, you know, that hark back to technologies that aren't back in the pioneer days. Plenty of these technologies were cutting edge in the mid-1800s and used right up until the mid-60s, you know, and that's what this is all about, showing you ways to do this stuff, to get this stuff for your own use. And also, imagine trading this sort of stuff when everybody else is a subsistence farmer. Imagine being able to trade a gasifier that you made out of a whole heap of garbage tins and coffee tins and pipes and crap everywhere. People who don't understand this sort of stuff will be thrilled to bits to get this sort of stuff, and you could trade quite a lot for it. You know, so that's something to think about, because, you know, if there was, say the Chinese could no longer find a reason to buy US bonds, and the US dollar collapse when they stop buying US bonds and the government goes with it, a lot of things may change, and I'll be telling you stuff that can put you on the top of the pecking order, because there's a lot of people on the top of the pecking order now that may not be after a large-scale grid-down situation. So yeah, production under limited means. Always look in the description of this series, because you'll often find links to websites and other YouTube videos which explain it a bit more, and there's other guys who understand you know, specific technologies very well, and you know, I may link to a few of their videos to help you understand it better.